My name is Tasha Roberts, and I'm 29. For a long time, I believed I was the kind of woman chaos couldn't touch, not because I was lucky, but because I was careful. I built my life quietly, deliberately, brick by brick, routine by routine, until it felt steady enough to stand on without anyone else holding it up. I worked as an IT systems analyst for a mid-sized logistics company in Colorado. It wasn't flashy, but it paid well, didn't bleed into my nights, and let me work from home 3 days a week. I had my own apartment, clean, lived in, not styled for Instagram. I had a 2018 Honda Accord, certified pre-owned, boring in the best way, reliable, paid for, mine. I'd spent weeks researching that car before buying it. Maintenance costs, reliability ratings, owner complaints. The first weekend I had it, I detailed the interior myself and installed a dash cam. Not because I was paranoid, but because I'd seen enough people on I-25 to know preparation beats regret. After my last serious relationship ended in 2020, I stopped chasing the idea of the one. I focused on my career, maxed out my 401k, picked up weekend consulting gigs. I got into hiking, Mount Evans, Rocky Mountain National Park, because trails didn't lie. You put in the work, or you didn't get the view. I built a gaming PC during the shortage, camped online to snag an RTX 3080 at MSRP. When it booted perfectly the first time, I remember smiling to myself, thinking, this is what effort is supposed to feel like. I learned to smoke brisket too, burned through more failed attempts than I'd like to admit, but my neighbor loved me for it. I kept the successes, gave away the mistakes. I wasn't lonely. I was peaceful. Then, in January of last year, I met Ethan Brooks at a friend's Super Bowl party. Ethan was 27, a dental hygienist with an easy smile and a laugh that didn't feel rehearsed. He was into fitness, true crime podcasts, and, refreshingly, actual conversations. He listened without waiting for his turn to talk. He asked questions that showed he remembered the answers. For the first time in a long while, I felt like I'd met someone who wasn't playing a game. He was weirdly impressed by things that shouldn't have impressed anyone, like the fact that I owned real furniture, cooked my own meals, and had a savings account with more than a few $100s in it. The bar is underground, he'd joked, and somehow people still miss it. Our first date was Korean BBQ. 3 hours flew by, talking about careers, travel goals, and embarrassing college stories. He told me about paying off his school loans early and wanting to eventually move into practice management. I told him about working toward my PMP certification and aiming for project management. Real, boring, grown-up goals. By March, we were officially together. And it was easy. He'd come over after work, we'd cook dinner together, watch documentaries, sit in comfortable silence without it feeling heavy. On weekends, we'd hike, try new breweries, take long drives with the windows down like nothing bad existed beyond the dashboard. He had his own social life. I had mine. We chose each other without clinging. That's when she became a problem. Her name was Tessa Ward. Tessa and I had been friends since college. Same dorm, same late-night ramen misery, same group projects we swore we'd never talk about again. She worked as a software developer at a startup that loved buzzwords and free snacks more than sustainable planning. She made good money, drove a flashy car she still owed too much on, and lived in one of those apartment complexes with a fancy gym no one actually used. Her place always looked perfect, spotless, curated. At first I admired it. Later I realized it was a showroom. When I started dating Ethan, Tessa got curious. At first it seemed normal. Protective friend curious. What's he like? What does he do? How'd you meet? Where does he live? Then the question shifted. What gym does he go to? Is he close with his family? What's his type? Is he the kind of guy who gets bored easily? I brushed it off, told myself she was just interested in my happiness. I was wrong. I introduced them at a game night at my place in April. 8 people, board games, drinks. Ethan brought homemade spinach artichoke dip that disappeared in minutes. Tessa showed up with craft IPAs, acting like she'd carried them down from a mountain herself. The night was fine, until I noticed how Tessa positioned herself. Always next to Ethan, laughing a little too hard, asking him questions that weren't about us, but about him. When everyone left and Ethan and I were cleaning up, he hesitated before speaking. Your friend Tessa is intense, he said carefully. I paused. Intense how? She asked me like 20 questions about my job, he said. then asked if I was the type who gets restless in relationships. I laughed, brushing it off. That's just Tessa. But he didn't laugh back. It felt like an interview, he said. I should have listened. Because Tessa didn't stop. She started texting more, inviting us to things constantly. Lunches, concerts, hikes, always framed as being for both of us. By June, she'd slipped into our routine so gradually it almost felt normal. That's how snakes work. They don't strike right away. They wait until you stop watching. Then July hit, a Friday afternoon. I was finishing work from home, planning to grab Thai food before Ethan came over after his shift. My phone buzzed. A text from Tessa. Tasha, I need to talk to you. Can you call? Something tightened in my chest before I even dialed. I called her. She skipped small talk completely. Look, she said, voice soft and heavy. This is really hard for me to say, but I saw something last weekend and I haven't slept since. My stomach dropped. What are you talking about? I saw Ethan, she said, at Eureka with another woman. Eureka, the burger place downtown Ethan and I had gone to before. That's not possible, I said immediately. Are you sure? I'm positive, she replied. They were sitting close, holding hands. They kissed before they left. The room felt colder. When was this? I asked. Last Saturday, around 7, she said. I didn't want to cause a scene. I debated all week about telling you, but you're my friend. You deserve to know. Last Saturday. The night Ethan had told me he was staying in, exhausted. The night he'd texted me joking about falling asleep to a documentary. What was he wearing? I asked, already hating myself. And then Tessa gave me details. Specific ones. Clothes, gestures, the woman's hair color, the way he laughed. Details that sounded like truth. By the time we hung up, my calm, carefully built life felt like it had cracked straight down the middle. And the worst part? Tessa sounded so convincing, so concerned, like she'd just sacrificed her own comfort to protect me. I sat there staring at my laptop, waiting for the sound of Ethan's key in my door later that evening, and wondering whether the man I was about to see was my boyfriend, or a stranger wearing his face. Ethan arrived that night like nothing was wrong. Same easy knock. Same familiar smile when I opened the door. He leaned in to kiss my cheek, and I flinched before I could stop myself. His smile faded instantly. Hey, you okay? Yeah, I said too quickly, stepping aside to let him in. I'm fine. I wasn't. The Thai food sat untouched on the counter. The apartment felt smaller, tighter, like the walls had leaned in while I wasn't looking. Ethan set his overnight bag down and studied me the way you do when you sense something's off but don't know where to start pulling the thread. Tasha, he said gently, what's going on? I swallowed. My heart was hammering so loud I was sure he could hear it. Tessa called me today, I said. His eyebrows lifted slightly. Okay? She said she saw you at Eureka last Saturday, I continued, forcing myself to keep eye contact, with another woman, holding hands, kissing. The words landed between us like shattered glass. For half a second, he just stared at me. Then his face changed. Not guilt, not panic. Confusion. What? He said. No, I wasn't at Eureka. That's what I thought, I said quickly, desperate for him to say the right thing. But she sounded so sure. I wasn't there, he repeated, firmer now. I was home. I told you that. She said it was around 7, I pressed. She gave details, Ethan. Like, a lot of details. His jaw tightened. Tasha, I don't know what to tell you. I didn't go out that night. Silence stretched between us. Then I made my first real mistake. Can I see your phone? I asked. The hurt flashed across his face instantly. Are you serious? If you've got nothing to hide... Stop, he said sharply, cutting me off. Don't do that. I folded my arms, defensive now. My friend saw you. She didn't just imagine it. She's your friend, he shot back. And I'm your boyfriend. Or at least I thought I was. If you didn't cheat, why not just show me? I asked, hating how reasonable it sounded in my head. Because trust doesn't work like that, he said. You don't get to demand proof because someone else said something. The argument escalated fast. Voices raised, emotions fraying. I can show you my location history, he said. My credit card statements. I can call my friend Jake. He was gaming with me that night. Then why does her story match what you posted on Instagram that day? I fired back. He blinked. What? She knew what you were wearing, I said. She described the watch on your wrist. He let out a sharp laugh, one with no humor in it. That's your evidence? Clothes I wear all the time? I don't know what to think, I snapped. She wouldn't lie to me. He stared at me like I'd slapped him. So you'd rather believe her than me? That's not what I said. That's exactly what you're saying. He ran a hand through his hair, pacing now. I offered to prove it. You didn't want proof. You wanted confirmation. That's not fair. What's not fair, he said quietly, is being accused of cheating when I didn't do anything wrong. I felt tears burn behind my eyes, but I didn't let them fall. I was too busy clinging to the image Tessa had painted, too detailed, too vivid to ignore. I think you should go, I said finally. His head snapped up. You're kicking me out? I need time to think, I said, my voice shaking. I can't just pretend this didn't happen. He stared at me for a long moment, like he was searching for the woman he thought he knew. Then his shoulders slumped. Okay, he said softly, if that's what you want. He picked up his bag without another word. At the door, he paused. I didn't cheat on you, Tasha. Then he left. No slammed door, no dramatic exit. Just the quiet click of the lock and the echo of something breaking that I couldn't fix. The weekend was hell. I replayed the conversation over and over, swinging between anger and doubt. Every time I started to believe Ethan, Tessa's voice crept back in. I walked right past them. They kissed. Sunday night, my phone buzzed. A text from Tessa. How are you holding up? I told her we'd broken up. Her response came fast. Honestly, probably for the best. You deserve someone who wouldn't do that to you. Something about that should have bothered me. It didn't. On Monday, while I sat miserable at my desk, Ethan texted. Can we talk? I can prove I wasn't there. We met that Wednesday at a coffee shop. Neutral ground. Public. Safe. He came prepared. Too prepared. Credit card statements, location history, screenshots from a group chat, even an Instagram story from one of his friends that night, with Ethan visible in the background, very much not at Eureka. Every piece lined up. Every piece proved the same thing. He hadn't lied. Tessa made it up, he said quietly. I don't know why, but she did. My stomach dropped through the floor. I don't understand, I whispered. I didn't either, he said, but I needed you to see this. I'm sorry, I said quickly. I should have believed you. He shook his head. That's the problem, Tasha. You didn't. I reached for his hand, but he pulled back. I need time, he said. I need to figure out if I can be with someone who trusts a third party over me without even hearing my side. I nodded, tears spilling now. I get it. He stood up. I wish this hadn't happened. So do I. He left, and this time I knew it was really over. I called Tessa immediately. What the hell did you do? I demanded the moment she answered. There was a pause. Then, casually, what are you talking about? Ethan wasn't at Eureka, I said. He proved it. You lied. Another pause, longer. I might have mixed up the night, she said slowly. Maybe it was the weekend before. No, I snapped. He wasn't there at all. You made it up. Why? Her tone shifted, defensive now. I was trying to protect you, she said. Girls can fake that stuff. Credit cards, locations. Stop, I said. Just stop. You're being naive, she insisted. He's not who you think he is. We're done, I said, my voice ice cold. Don't call me again. I hung up, blocked her everywhere. But the damage was already done. I'd lost my boyfriend over a lie told by someone I trusted for years. And I didn't yet understand why she'd done it, only that the truth always arrives too late to save what's already broken. Losing Ethan didn't explode my life. It hollowed it out. There was no dramatic collapse, no missed deadlines, no days spent sobbing on the floor. Instead, everything just felt quieter, like the volume had been turned down on a life I used to recognize. I went through the motions. Work, gym, grocery store, sleep. I threw myself into productivity because productivity doesn't ask questions. I signed up for extra certification courses, started going to the gym 6 days a week instead of 4. Meal prepped, like my life depended on it. Told myself that discipline was the same thing as healing. It wasn't. At night, when my apartment was silent and the lights from the city bled through the blinds, my thoughts circled back to the same place. I trusted the wrong person. And worse, I distrusted the right one. About 2 weeks after everything blew up, my phone buzzed with a text from an unknown number. Hey, Tasha, it's Ethan. This is my work phone. I know I shouldn't reach out, but I need to tell you something. My stomach dropped. I stared at the screen for a full minute before replying. What is it? The response came immediately. Tessa asked me out. I felt like the air had been punched out of my chest. What? She showed up at my clinic today, he wrote. Said she heard we broke up and wanted to check on me. Then she asked if I wanted to get dinner this weekend. Everything clicked. The questions, the attention, the lie. She hadn't been protecting me. She'd been clearing the field. What did you say? I typed. I told her no, told her to leave me alone. Then I blocked her. I just thought you should know. My hands were shaking when I set my phone down. I called him. I am so sorry, I said the moment he answered. I should have believed you. I should have trusted you over her. There was a pause on the other end. Yeah, he said quietly. You should have. The words weren't cruel, they were honest. I can't do this again, Tasha, he continued. I can't be with someone who would believe a lie that easily, especially when it came from someone with an agenda. I understand, I whispered. I hope you're okay, he said. I really do. Then he hung up. And that was it. I blocked Tessa everywhere. Instagram, Facebook, phone, email. I told mutual friends I didn't want updates. I didn't want explanations. I just wanted distance. Summer bled into fall, fall into winter. Life kept moving. I passed my PMP exam, got promoted to senior analyst with a decent raise, started dating casually, coffee here, drinks there, but nothing stuck. I wasn't in a rush, not after learning how wrong instincts could be. By December, I'd accepted that Ethan was a closed chapter. Painful, permanent, done. Then karma decided to be loud. It was a Monday night. I was at my friend Derek's place watching football. Nothing special. Wings on the table, game on mute while everyone talked over it. I was scrolling my phone during halftime when Derek leaned over, eyes wide. You are not going to believe this, he said, holding his phone out to me. But I think you're going to want to see it. On his screen was an Instagram post from someone I recognized immediately, Lena, one of Ethan's coworkers. The photo showed Ethan sitting with a group of friends, smiling tiredly but genuinely. The caption made my heart stop. Girls' night celebrating Ethan finally seeing Tessa's true colors. Turns out the woman who warned him about a cheating ex was cheating on him the entire relationship. Multiple people, multiple apps. Karma doesn't miss. I blinked. Once. Twice. What? I whispered. Derek nodded grimly. Yeah, they were dating. For months. I scrolled. The comments were brutal. Same manipulation, different victim. She used the exact same playbook. Classic narcissist behavior. One comment stood out. Didn't she lie to Tasha to break them up? Same story, just reversed. My chest tightened. I kept scrolling. There it was. Screenshots. Dating app messages timestamped while she was supposedly exclusive with Ethan. DMs from different men. One woman posted a conversation from the previous week. Tessa flirting, asking to meet up. Public, unfiltered, unavoidable. Derek shook his head. She accused him of cheating, then actually cheated on him. You can't make this stuff up. I felt a strange mix of emotions. Vindication, anger, exhaustion. I didn't feel happy. I felt confirmed. Tessa hadn't changed. She'd just chosen a different target. Later that night, as I was still scrolling through the fallout, my phone buzzed. Unknown number. Hey, Tasha, it's Ethan. My heart jumped despite myself. A second message followed, a selfie of him holding a piece of paper with my name written on it. Timestamp visible. New number. I know this is probably the last thing you want, but can we talk? I stared at the screen. About what? The reply came instantly. About everything. About how wrong I was. About her. About us. I didn't answer right away. Part of me wanted to ignore it, to let karma finish what it started. Another part of me wanted to hear the words I never got to hear when it mattered. I finally typed, I'm with friends, can't talk tonight. That's okay, he replied. Anytime that works for you. I owe you an apology. I put my phone face down. Derek noticed. He reached out, didn't he? I nodded. You gonna meet him? He asked. I don't know, I said honestly. Being right doesn't undo anything. No, Derek said, but closure might. I didn't answer, because deep down I already knew. Some conversations aren't about reopening doors. They're about locking them properly, so they never creak open again. I agreed to meet Ethan the next evening. Not because I wanted to rewind anything, not because I was hoping for a second chance, but because some wounds don't close until you look straight at what caused them and decide, consciously, not to bleed anymore. We met at a small coffee shop near downtown. Neutral ground. Public. Safe. Ironically, it was the same place where he'd once sat across from me with proof in his hands, begging me to believe him. That detail wasn't lost on either of us. Ethan was already there when I walked in, sitting by the window, coffee untouched, shoulders slumped like the weight of the last 8 months had finally caught up with him. He looked different, not physically, but emotionally stripped, like someone who'd learned a hard lesson the long way. Tasha, he said softly when he saw me. Ethan. We sat down across from each other, the table between us feeling heavier than it should have. For a moment, neither of us spoke. Then he exhaled. I owe you an apology. I waited. I believed her, he said. Not at first, but after you and I broke up, she kept showing up, texting, bringing coffee to work, saying all the right things. I nodded slowly. I already knew where this was going. She told me she'd lied to you because she was confused about dates, he continued. Said you were controlling, that you made her uncomfortable. that she'd been trying to protect me. My jaw tightened. She rewrote everything, he said quietly, and I let her. I didn't interrupt. I let him talk. She love-bombed me, Ethan went on. Constant attention, compliments, sympathy, made herself the safe option after everything blew up with us. He looked up at me then, eyes tired. I should have seen it, especially after what she did to you. I took a sip of my coffee, even though it had gone lukewarm. But you didn't. No, he admitted. I didn't. There was no defensiveness in his voice, no excuses. Just ownership. She cheated on me, he said. Multiple people. Dating apps. Messages going back months. When I confronted her, she denied it, then said they were just friends, then accused me of being paranoid. I let out a slow breath. Same script? He nodded, word for word. We sat in silence for a few seconds, the truth settling between us like dust after a collapse. Why did you want to talk to me? I asked finally. Because I needed you to know you weren't wrong, he said. About her, about any of it, and because I'm sorry I ever chose to believe her version of events, even after you tried to warn me. I looked at him then, really looked. I'm sorry too, I said. I should have trusted you from the start. I chose the easier lie over the harder truth. He shook his head gently. We both ignored red flags. We both paid for it. He was right. This wasn't a hero and villain story. It was a story about choices. I'm not asking to get back together, he added quickly. I know that bridge burned a long time ago. I just didn't want silence to be the last thing between us. I considered that, then nodded. I appreciate you saying that. We finished our drinks without much else to say. No awkward tension, no lingering hope. Just acceptance. At the door, he paused. I really do hope you're happy, Tasha. I am, I said, and this time it wasn't something I had to convince myself of. He smiled faintly. Good. Then he left. The rumor mill kicked up almost immediately. Friends asked if we were getting back together. Mutuals speculated. Some people suggested I should give him another chance, since he'd been manipulated too. I didn't argue. I just said no. Because here's the truth no one likes to hear. Being manipulated doesn't erase responsibility. Tessa didn't force me to distrust Ethan. She didn't force Ethan to date her afterward. We both made choices. We both ignored instincts. We both paid the price. And growth doesn't always mean reconciliation. Sometimes it means restraint. The last message I got about Ethan came from a mutual friend asking if I'd be open to staying in touch. I declined politely. As for Tessa, she disappeared from our social circle almost overnight. Blocked. Avoided. Exposed. Reputation burned down by her own receipts. When you manipulate enough people, eventually no one believes your story. Life moved on, and so did I. Not with bitterness, not with regret, but with boundaries strong enough to keep peace intact and instincts sharpened by experience. Some lessons cost more than others, but they're only wasted if you don't learn from them.